Looting and destruction have returned to Minneapolis tonight after police say a crowd mistook a suicide for an officer-involved shooting. Police say it all started with a murder investigation in the heart of downtown this afternoon.
They say a man shot and killed another man in parking ramp A near Target Center and Target Field. That gunman and a woman then took off. Police say they spotted the gunman a few hours later around 8th and Nicollet Mall. When officers approached him, he turned his gun on himself and he took his own life. Our Jeff Wagner's been following the aftermath. Jeff, why don't you begin? I know you have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I'll just start with I'm looking down towards Britt's Pub right now along the Nicollet Mall within a half a block of us, and I'm watching people walk out of the restaurant right now with bags of whether it be liquor, I'm not sure. I look down the Nicollet Mall behind me and I see a large police presence, but where the police are not is where the looters are active at the moment. But let's kind of go back in time a little bit and talk about where this all began. The latest incident, again, happening this evening along the Nicollet Mall at 8th Street around 6. This video police shared leading up to the shooting from a city camera along the mall. That's where police say they were approaching that man, the suspect, when he turned the gun on himself. Now, about 4 hours earlier, around 2 p.m., investigators say that man got into a fight in Ramp A near Target Center and Target Field. He shot and killed a man there and ran off with the woman. Police found her soon after. Investigators don't know yet what led to the fight at the ramp. And again, that live picture that you saw a second ago of the Nicollet Mall, still a large police presence in downtown Minneapolis. But I can tell you where the police are not is where the destruction is happening. I was standing along 9th and Nicollet next to Sheriff Hutchinson and many deputies with Hennepin County, and things felt safe. But as we walked back towards the WCCO studios 3 blocks away, that's where you see destruction happening, and to the point where with no police presence, people are doing it at a slow pace, and casually, to the point where once the looters saw us with our cameras, they started throwing bottles of liquor at us. It's been a tough evening, as you described, with people saying that they say police killed a man. That rumor was spreading like wildfire along the mall, which is why MPD did its best to share what actually occurred with us to try and get that information out there as soon as possible to quell the crowds. Community activist groups like Mad Dads, We Push for Peace, we're out here trying to let people know what actually happened, but it appears their message fell on deaf ears, or it appears people just had their own agenda this evening, one that's continuing tonight as the rain starts to fall in downtown.
Jeff, let's talk a little bit more about what is happening with the looting. I know some of these people did try to quell this stuff, but I mean, I heard reports. Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I've seen Saks Fifth Avenue, Lund's and Byerly's now, CVS, Walgreens. I mean, it wasn't just a limited part of looting. It's wherever the cops are not. Exactly. People are breaking into buildings and walking out with merchandise with no consequence.
It was about 7:30. We were about to walk back to the studios. We're only about 2.5 blocks away from the Target on the Nicollet Mall, and we saw a crowd of like 30 or so people, really energized, starting to run towards the Target entrance, and you just got a sense something was up, and that's when we realized, and the crowd was talking about it, they're about to loot the Target. Police swooped in maybe within a minute, but within a minute, a lot was already happening inside the store. Police were driving onto the sidewalk on the Nicollet Mall, trying to get the crowds to disperse. I believe I heard the sound that I haven't heard in several months of police using their less than lethal rounds, like the rubber bullet, to try and push the crowd away. Next thing you know, Target has pulled down its metal gates, so no one's allowed in or out. And then the crowds were then kind of pushed further down Nicollet Mall, in which you described. The looting started at other businesses, whether it be the Nordstrom rack at the IDS Center. There's a lot of smashed windows. The Walgreens, we've heard, got hit pretty bad. I mean, if you walk down the Nicollet Mall, starting at about 12th Street near us, going all the way towards the river at about 6th Street, you'll just see shattered windows and businesses that have had looting occur inside.
Jeff, I have a question. I understand that they requested state police, and state police came in, and I know that the mayor held a press conference, and I understand that he is requesting the National Guard. Are you hearing anything about that?
That's what we were saying. I mean, we heard that in the press conference. It was like about 9:15, 45 minutes ago, that the governor tweeted out that he was bringing in the state patrol. We talked with Sheriff Hutchinson with Hennepin County, who said we were requested to help and assist just because of the sheer number of people downtown. I can tell you, as someone who works downtown and lives downtown, I haven't seen size along the Nicollet Mall and the streets that intersect it in quite some time. Even during the unrest that was occurring back in late May and early June, although protests occurred downtown, we all know much of the destruction was happening in South Minneapolis, in North Minneapolis. This is what we were almost expecting to occur in the initial days following George Floyd's death downtown, with people boarding up windows all over the place. It didn't really happen. It's happening now with all these businesses having taken down their boards to protect them. Now we're seeing that destruction just 3 months later.
So, Jeff, when you said that they tried to announce and say that this is, or try to get the message out that this was a suicide and this was not a police-involved shooting, so nobody really paid attention then, basically. That message did not get across to people.
I don't think it did, whether it be because people just don't believe the officers at this point, or because they're angry about what has happened in Kenosha. They're still angry about what happened earlier this year at 38th in Chicago. It just reignited any sort of anger some people had, or what we saw earlier this summer, some people just wanted to take advantage of the situation. You know, I can't imagine that there are this many people usually downtown, but there's an unusually high amount of traffic along the city streets, similar to like a busy Friday night or Saturday night when people are going out to bars and restaurants. That's how much the traffic has increased on a Wednesday night downtown like I have not seen during this pandemic.
And Jeff, when we talk, I'm not sure.
I hear you.
I'm not sure that people in. I'll wait till you get set up there.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. I'm not sure the message from police is going to resonate in this town following what happened on May 25th. And I might be wrong because I'm not as savvy as you, but the message from a lot of activist people, I didn't see a lot of their messaging saying, hey, this was a mistake. Don't wreck downtown Minneapolis. I mean, the folks that were out with George Floyd, and rightfully so, condemning that, I didn't see those same voices tonight going, hey, don't loot downtown Minneapolis. This was a suicide.
I can tell you, we talked with KG Wilson, a street activist. I talked with Pollard. Or elements of Mad Dads all down here when that initial scene was happening at 8th and Nicollet. They were right there trying to calm the crowd that was surrounding police as they were, investigating that specific crime scene. And then it just kind of reached that point in the night, maybe 8:30, where some of these activists, it appeared as though things were calming and the crowds were dispersing. But just because the crowds were dispersing doesn't mean they were done maybe with the looting and the destruction. It just started to spread across different parts of downtown. And I don't think the police presence at that point was strong enough to handle all these different factions of people. And then again, as the hours went by, more people started coming to downtown, and I think right now it's almost a race with law enforcement trying to keep up with all the people that are down here. You have the addition of the Sheriff's Department, the State Patrol, and now the National Guard. Again, I look down the street and I see a contingent of Minneapolis police holding down the block that leads up to Target. But 2.5 blocks away, where Britt's Pub and the Caribou Coffee is across from the CCO studios, no police and consistent looting occurring.
Yeah, well, good for those two guys for trying tonight.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jeff. And as Jeff said, there have been multiple reports of looting and violence along Nicollet Mall this evening. We, of course, will continue to monitor the situation, and we'll have the latest on WCCO TV following the RNC.